Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Holton Talks. You're joined today by me, Scott, and Jamie. Jay, you okay?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, we are doing this Sunday morning, so we've had a little bit of time for the result to sink in, but I'm still buzzing, mate. Such a good game, such a good win, and just a statement victory, I think. I mean, you obviously weren't there, you had to miss this one, but watched it at home, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Thoughts on it? Just in
Uh, Happy because I thought sometimes when we played against Arsenal, I felt like not last season, but probably the away game last season and the seasons prior when we had won, I felt like not that we didn't deserve to win, but I felt like Arsenal were probably slightly the better side. Whereas now, we played City obviously a month or so ago, beat them and deserved to win. And then yesterday, I thought we deserved to win also. I thought first half, I thought we were really good. Second half, I thought Arsenal, obviously the way the momentum shifted, they're chasing the game. Then when they got the goal, they ramped it up as well. I thought they thought they played better in the second half than us. But then that last 10, 15 minutes, we were all over them. I think that they had that chance at the end with Rice where Madueke went wide, but yeah, I think overall really happy with the result and the performance.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do it in some order. I think when the team news come out, I'd said to Razzie on the way up there, and we were talking about it, and we both kind of guessed that's what he would go with. We felt Onana had to play, Kamara has to play regardless, and you needed Tielemans in there. Gesend obviously played against Brighton on Wednesday. We thought he would come out, McGinn and Rodgers either side of Yuri. Um, would you have said that's what you would have gone for? Easy to say now. And you happy with that starting 11?
I actually thought he would have played Gesson, just obviously help the defensive work. But yeah, Onana was for sure going to play. I think he said Gesson had picked up an injury. So that's whether he would have started or not, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like just the depth we have. I was obviously happy for Matson to get back-to-back starts as well. I feel like he's been really good in both games. I thought I was worrying half hour into the Brighton game. Obviously, we were there. I thought, I don't know, and then like until Luka Dean came on, played really well, and then obviously yesterday was one of our better players. So I have a really good bunch. So yeah, I mean, I'm so past the stage of ever questioning a lineup when it comes out. Emery rarely gets it wrong. So yeah, no, I thought the selection was good. Like he says, the key men that had to be in there were in there. I thought it was a good idea. Obviously, packing out the midfield, having Tielemans start up front alongside Oli, then dropping in to obviously make that free midfield. You look at Onana, Kamara, and Yuri Tielemans. There's not many better a free man midfield in the league than that.
No, and I thought it was interesting when the game started. I felt like at the first 15 minutes we were kind of cancelling each other out. I think Odegaard had a half chance for them when we lost it on the edge of the box. I think Rodgers come to get it from Emmy. Emmy dinked it into him. We lost it. Odegaard got the shot away. But the way that Arsenal actually lined up against us, and very few teams do it now because they know how Villa are going to play, especially where Emmy will hold on to the ball. But what Arsenal did, push Saka right up onto Torres, push Ben White onto Matson, and then went Timber against Rodgers, Watkins against him Campy or whatever his name is, and McGinn against Calafiore, which you don't see many teams. In one sense, you've got to say it's quite brave from an Arsenal point of view. In but in another sense, you could say you're leaving yourself quite vulnerable at the back. Uh,
Yeah.
it kind of meant that sometimes we had to go long, which I don't mind it when Villa do that because we mix it up a little bit. I felt we could have maybe gone longer. So we were trying to dink it in to Rodgers or Watkins or McGinn. I don't think Ollie's hold-up play was the best yesterday, especially compared to the other. I mean, Marlon play when he come on isn't the best. I don't think they're not renowned for that. But I just found that interesting from the off that that's how Arsenal went. kind of stuck to it all game and stayed like man to man. But I did feel like it played into Villa hands then when Villa got the ball and we beat through maybe a couple of lines. Torres in particular obviously helping with that. And I think you see it with the Matty Cash goal that Torres obviously has a bit of space, very patient with the build-up. I think he popped it into Rodgers. Rodgers pops it back to Tielemans, lays it off to Torres. He's got a better angle for the cross, delivers. And then obviously Eze switches off at the back post and it's a good finish by Matty Cash. Could you see that from where you were, that they were going man for man? Or was it
not?
Cool.
Yeah, you could see it. Obviously, they're brave. And I think being direct, obviously, if you try painting the picture when Ben White pushes up, if Ollie, who Timber was predominantly on, if he's central, you have all that space out where that Ben White's left. So you have all that green to run into. So I remember we done the Bayern Munich game last year. They went man for man, and it came back to bite them. And I thought at the start, obviously, I know it's about cancelling them out, but I thought Timber was winning too many duels, especially in the first half. And I thought it seemed like every time the ball was up in the air, I know he's small, but he just kept getting the ball, kept winning it in the air. And I thought we got to just try and find something different to do. But yeah, I thought you don't, like I said, you don't really see many teams come to Villa Park and play that man for man because Ollie back to goal, he is okay. Obviously, when the ball's up in the air, it's a bit different. But on his day when he has a back to goal, he can occupy a whole back line. So it was a strange. I didn't really expect it.
No, I think we said about it after the Bayern game last year that they could have hit the channels a little bit more and utilise the space that the teams were using. I think there was one point in the first half, Martinez had the ball, and obviously Arsenal were kind of like waiting, but Martinez is now good at just waiting and kept his foot on it. No jeers from the crowd because they know exactly what we want to do. But yeah, I did think Arsenal were brave, but I thought Villa were brave, kept trying to play out when they could. A couple of little moments where we nearly got caught, shall we say. But then on the other foot, Arsenal had a couple of moments where they nearly got caught playing out as well. So it just goes to show it's not just Villa that's going to get caught. Arsenal one of the best at doing it. And like I said, even they got caught. I've written down a few points before we touch on Kashi's goal. Couple of really good saves. One in the first half from Odegaard, where it was probably he struck it well, but mainly at him. But he had a couple of other really good saves throughout the game. The Saka one in the first half, the Odegaard one in the second half. He definitely looks like he's back to. I know he missed the Brighton game, and obviously we were there, and it was a bit. We were like, oh. But he definitely looks like he's back to his best.
Yeah, I said it before that even him at 50% is still probably the best keeper we've had. It's mad to be fair, and I feel like he, sometimes against Arsenal, like there's been times in the past where the crowd has kind of got to him, and I know it weren't his fault, but he had that own goal like 3 years ago now, the one that came off the bar. Yeah, Jorginho one. But I thought yesterday he was superb, and I went out after. I was out last night, and I was chatting to a few Arsenal fans, and I said I was like, mate. He said to me, he was like, he was like, oh, Emery and Martinez could lose 36 games in the league, but as long as they beat Arsenal twice, they'll be happy. I said, I was like, well, I said, if that's how you think, that's how you think, but Emery does this. Not like he's, Martinez don't just show up for Arsenal. It says there's a reason he got,
such a observation that I'm sorry. It's such a clueless, just watching Arsenal observation that.
Yeah, and he's quite a knowledgeable football. Well, it came from two different ones, but one of them is quite knowledgeable as well on football. So I was a bit surprised that he said that. But I said I was like, he's the only goalkeeper in history to win back-to-back Yashin Trophy awards. I know it's a relatively new award, but still, he's the only goalkeeper to do so. one of the best goalkeepers in the world, especially if you look at the old-fashioned goalkeeper. He's amazing. So I feel like it's a bit naive to say he only shows up against Arsenal, basically. And then same for Emery. Obviously, there is a revenge aspect there, and what Palace are to us are what we are to Everton, and what we are also to Arsenal. Like, teams just have those bogey teams that they just can't seem to get away from, and we seem to be Arsenal's, and it might have a fact to do with that. Emery goes above and beyond for it, but I wouldn't say that he'd be happy just beating Arsenal. It might obviously, be that bit more sweet, but he's like I says, he creates a plan for every game. Every game is different.
I've learned more about this in Guillaume Balaguer's book. I don't feel like that he got any bitterness towards Arsenal. I just feel like he never got the full control, and that's why when he went to Villarreal and now Villa, he's stuck to having full control, playing a certain way, and that I think Arsenal have got this in their head that he's got a vendetta against Arsenal. I just don't think that exists.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the thing is though, is that you're never going to find out. Like, no. He isn't going to come out and say, "Oh yeah, I hate Arsenal." He's never going to come out and be like, "Oh yeah, like time for revenge." I mean, he's never going to say that. It's just not him. But like I says, it might be the aspect that there's just a win against Arsenal tastes that bit more sweet. But like I says, he creates a plan for every game. Like, I remember Newcastle a few years ago. We had that bit where we just kept going direct to McGinn against Dan Burn, and we haven't done that when we played Newcastle since. There was just that one time. There's a plan for everything. It was like Brighton, we beat him 6-1. It was the first time we saw Boubacar Kamara go to right centre half, and Matty Cash and Luca Dean went up on the wings basically, and we had the 2 10s behind Ollie. It's like, it's the first time we saw that. That was against Brighton. Does that mean that he only turns up against Brighton? No. So yeah, it's quite naive to say that.
I've got a couple of players down, and the first one is Kamara, who stops the ball going in from the shot. It's a good block, and he's not direct goal line, but he's probably 5 yards out in the second. I think that is going in, and he does so well for the Buendia winner. I think everyone, if you dissect that and you go through, I think it's Lindelof with a header initially to Tielemans. Tielemans jerks body, gives it to Kamara out to, I think, is it Rodgers? He plays a bit 1-2 with Marlon. It's good cross. Sancho does well to keep it alive at the back post. Tielemans is the main first, and then between Buendia and Kamara, they keep it alive. But Kamara is, I see a lot of people saying how good Tielemans was yesterday and how good Rodgers was, but Kamara is just something.
Yeah, I think there's an argument that he is our best player. I think him alongside Konsa are probably our 2 best outfield players, for sure. I think what he brings, I feel like he could play higher up as well. I think I said to you before a few weeks ago outside the Villa store. It might have been the day of the City game, actually. I remember saying to you, I was like, Kamara could play higher up if he wanted to. He could play as an 8. Like, I'm not saying off a volley or nothing like that, but if we got an out and out sitter, he could play a more advanced role, because he just never loses the ball. He's just cool all the time, and I feel like there's phases yesterday where he was actually driving with the ball as well, which was quite nice to see. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Emery's noticed that, because I don't know. I just feel like he could make a difference further up the pitch, because you just know when he's on the ball, he's never going to lose it. So it would be interesting to see if, I don't know, whatever happens, we lose Yuri and Barkley goes, if he got an out and out sitter, or whether he does push Bieber up. But yesterday he was superb. Oftentimes he is our man of the match, but I think everyone played well yesterday. So
I think the one thing that he maybe have to play further forward is that little pace. But that's harsh criticism. We had a question from Rob on TikTok. He said, as not being able to spend in the summer actually helped us and kind of got everyone together as a group, and all the obstacles in the Premier League keep putting in for teams like Villa. It's a sucker punch to them at the moment.
Yeah, I can see that. It's you used to get teams like, you remember for example, like one of the best teams I've seen is that great Milan team of like, I didn't see much of them in the early to mid noughties, but the late noughties as well, in like 07, 08, 09. That team was together for so many years, and you don't really get as much of that now. Like teams, always have like 2 or 3 new players in their starting 11 when it comes to start of season. Just the way it is now, who players go to, who pays the most money, and I feel like having a rare summer that we had, not really adding to our 11, if anything, taken away from our squad, has made the team stronger in a way. So I can definitely see that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a good point. I think we've obviously added, but like the starting 11 yesterday, no one signed in the summer, did they? And the window just gone. I thought obviously Monty thought he actually did come on yesterday. But there's obviously no one that's actually starting at the moment that was signed in the summer, because there's obviously in and out and whatnot. But I think it is a good point.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Final question before we wrap it up: are we in a title race?
Yeah, I think we are. I feel like you can't say a team that, if Chelsea are in a title race and we're above them, and if City are in a title race, then why can't we be? I don't think it's stupid to say that we are, because it's just factually speaking. Do I think we'll win it? No, but we are 3 points behind the leaders. If Burnley were in our position, I'd be saying the same thing, because they stand a chance of winning.
Yeah.
So, what do you think on that?
I think you've got to say that we're in a race. We've beaten the top 2. It's just about. I don't think there's been any teams that have been consistent this season other than Arsenal. And I think Arteta said it himself yesterday in one of the interviews I saw. We've not lost in 18, and we're only 3 points above Villa, I think he said. And then obviously looking from the City result, which happened after 2 points, and he was basically saying, we've not lost in 18, and that's the gap. So I think City are finding their feet and playing well. Foden's hit form again. Cherky looks like he's obviously up and running now. But you can't not say Villa aren't. I think we're back to playing how we did over the last couple of years. But we've got a system, we've got a way of playing, and the word that used from the beginning is consistency. Always consistency. Individually, collectively, tactically, he always says it. I think the players believe it, and I think us as fans. I mean, what's the point of being a football fan if you can't dream when you're, I know we're back to 3rd in the table, but at one point yesterday we're 2nd. If you can't dream about stuff like that, what's the point of being a football fan? I think 2 big games before Christmas in terms of West Ham away, which, okay, they're not doing great, but I think they've picked up slightly, and then Man United at home, which is obviously a massive bogey team for us. But if you can go Christmas and you pick up another team, I think Arsenal got Wolves next week. You fancy them to bounce back, but yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think as well, like you were saying, I feel like Sunday, I'm going to that game, the West Ham one. If we can go there, get 3 points, and then you have the United game, which it's our bogey. Like we usually perform bad against them. If we can get 6 points before Christmas, and by somehow avoid defeat or at least avoid defeat or win one of the away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and away to Arsenal, because we got them in the 27th and the 30th, it would be amazing. Because, for example, if we get 6 points before Christmas, get a point against Chelsea, and then avoid defeat against Arsenal, you're then banking on them to match or get better than our results that we've put out there. And again, I know they have Wolves, but I don't remember the fixtures they've got after that, but they're not. Obviously, they have us for on the 30th for one, but I don't know if they've got on the 27th and the 21st that week, that game week. But it's like I said, they're going to have to get better results than us, and it's weird to be in this discussion. And I was having the conversation about what you do in January. I don't know what we're like financially right now. I don't know when it kind of eases. I don't know, but do you think, okay, yeah, let's gamble on it and let's strengthen. Maybe try to get, I don't know, for example, a right back. We won't, but let's just say, for example, right back. Do you do that? But then it risks throwing out what obviously good squad harmony we've got at the minute, because so many times we've come from behind. Tottenham away, we go 1-0 down straight away, end up playing really well, get back to 2-1. We had the Brighton game that we're both at, 2-0 down, and we end up winning 4-3. It's unheard of from a Villa, way of playing. Like, for Villa to be 2-0 down and win, it's rare. I know we done it at Everton, I think, last season at home with the Durango and the Watkins brace, but it doesn't happen too often being a Villa fan. We're usually the other team. We're usually the other team that happens to. So it's nice, like I said at the start of the video, it's nice now where teams come to play Villa, and you look at the stats after. I mean, XG is a load of bollocks anyway, but you look at the shots and like you're having a similar amount of shots. The possession isn't too dissimilar. Like we're going toe to toe with the very best that the league has to offer while having our hands tied. And whenever we play against these big teams, we're playing against 12 men. And it was the same thing yesterday. I don't want to touch on it too much, but the referee again yesterday was absolutely awful. And it's just, we're doing all these, and it's like a big, it is a sucker punch to the league, because they want to keep the big boys at the top, and you have us. I know Sunderland had a bad result yesterday, but obviously they're looking good this season. Obviously Newcastle eventually are going to then come good. You have these teams that want to compete. Everton are in 5th now, I think. I don't know about after today's results if that changes things, because you've got Palace playing and stuff, but they're in 5th, and it's like, the Premier League is so good this season. As a neutral, the only thing that will ruin it as a neutral would be Arsenal running away with it. But we stopped that yesterday. So yeah.
The ref was fucking awful yesterday. So many fouls that Arsenal got in the Villa. Yeah, and it's becoming a bit of a joke. You pretty much see every time you go and watch Villa play that you're going to sing about how bad the ref is. It doesn't matter which is. Your other point, like the game and the stats and stuff, I just think now we're just a really good football team. I'm saying it for 3 years, and I think we're still kind of adjusting to it as fans, that we are just a good team. A blip at the start of the season, I don't think me or you would know that he would come good and get it right. And in terms of January, I think we could probably add a couple, but maybe a winger. A winger would be
it's pace, isn't it? You want a bit of pace.
And then maybe another option up front, but I think all the times Watkins and Marlon both there, you've got 2 slightly different options anyway. But if you look at December so far, I mean, like I said, we were at Brighton on Wednesday. Incredible night. I mean, we didn't do a podcast about it. We were bounced. Such a great game. And the away end was unreal. And then to follow it up with a win at Arsenal, if you then go and get a win at West Ham or win at United, I think a lot of fans at December were saying, how many points are we going to get? I don't think a lot of people would have had 6 from the first 2. So
no. I would have taken 2 points. I would have taken a point at the Amex and a point yesterday.
I think I would have done as well. I think you set yourself up. And if we want to be in the conversation after Christmas in regards to the title, you need to carry on being consistent and go and get a result at West Ham and get a result at United before Christmas. And then, like you said, Chelsea and Arsenal straight after Christmas Day. Go and get something from them games away. And then we'll come back to the conversation. But yeah, we're definitely in it. I think we're playing really well. So why the hell not?
Obviously for the start of the season we had, I remember we were saying, look, if we can just get Europe again, we'd be happy. If someone offers you Europa League now, would you take it or not? Not the trophy, Europa League next season. So
yeah, I think
So 5th or 6th, you take that.
I think we need to, if we're qualifying consecutively for the Europa League, it's a good achievement compared to what the other teams around have spent and their resources. I would take it. Champions League has to be the aim, obviously. But yeah, I would take Europa League.
I think with the points at the minute, we are so far ahead in first. So unless the teams have a shocking, knockout campaign or even the end of the group stage, we are gonna get the 5th spot. So I was thinking, I'm like, so you're gonna have City and Arsenal in there, you'd imagine. But then I really think it's a toss up between Liverpool. You'd think would come good at some point. You got us, Palace. Because I heard talk about, well, I say I heard talk, it's just paper talk, but like if Slot went, they're on about Glasner going. If Palace still have Glasner in charge and Mateta finds form, etc., and like they'll be in the conversation. So you got us, Chelsea, Palace, Liverpool will come good. You got so many teams that can get that 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot. I don't think I would take Europa League if it got offered to me, because I think that we can be in that top 5. If that makes sense. Which is mad to say with the start we had.
It's very tight, and I think there'll be a lot. I think last year it was similar, and then after Christmas, February time, teams started slowly dropping off. But yeah, it's just like I said, it's whichever team can find consistency for 3-4 games in a row, you're right up there again. So
it's about sorry to interrupt. It's about rotation as well. Like in that first season when we qualified Champions League, we were dead on our feet at the end because we couldn't rotate. Whereas now, like you look at the team that played against Wolves, and then the team that played at Brighton, there was 4 changes, I think, and then there was a few more. I think there was more changes for yesterday's game, and then you'll have changes against Basel, and then West Ham. You might see a Luka Dean come back in, for example. But it is these changes, like because you look at our squad, like Matty Cash has played a lot of minutes. So is Boubacar Kamara. You look at them two, for example, they're going to need a time where they have a rest, and it's handy. Obviously, you have the Watkins and Marlon, and obviously Barkley's injured, but the depth of midfield we have. When Ty comes back, you'd imagine Powell probably sit out for one if he can. And out wide, obviously we have options. It's just we need to stay fresh. Obviously, don't rotate for the sake of rotating, but you notice that City are always up there, for example, for one, because they spend so much money. They have a ginormous squad, like who 1 week that they're starting, the world's best players, and the next week they've still got the world's best players in there, but they're different. And it's just, if you change between Luka Dean and Maatsen in between Europa League and Cup games, and then you have the same for Barkley and Tielemans and say Onana Kamara, for example, and you have Marlon Watkins and Gassond and McGinn, and you're constantly like switching them over for like say like the FA Cups and a dead rubber in the Europa League. That's where our big guns like the Watkins, the Ezris, and the McGinns, etc., can recoup their fitness. Because I know we were good yesterday, but I looked and there was a time where Tielemans got it maybe 10 yards into the Arsenal half. It was in the 87th minute, and he passed as Kamara, and then Kamara literally like looked around, and then he didn't know like where to kind of pass. He's played it back, but they looked dead on their feet at that time, and I was like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I got tired the last 10 minutes, and then we kind of found another little bit of energy, and I think the subs helped, which obviously does back up your point. But yeah, we do have a good squad. I think a lot of teams have that issue. You noticed that yesterday Arsenal's few injuries down to not the bare bones, but obviously didn't have their first choice backs, which hasn't helped. But listen, there's still a lot of football to be played, so we'll keep on. Said let's you can dream at the same time.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Our last little thing. I know we had him on the show, but Guillaume Balaguer was there signing books yesterday. Went and said hello, had a little chat, and we'll be getting him back on the podcast at some point. But he was and signing books in the shop, so big up to him. And I think we'll leave it there. We're back in the week for the Europa League game against Basel Thursday. be me or you and Aaron or whoever. But
yes. So on that Bars game again, we might touch on it later on in the week, but that's a massive game as well. If we win that, because our next one is until January at some point, I think, and it's Fenerbahce away, and then our home game is against Salzburg, which is the pot 1 team that we got drawn at home. So that's not necessarily the Salzburg one. I think we'll be okay for Salzburg, but Fenerbahce. I know Fenerbahce have had a mixed bag of results, but it's one of the most hostile atmospheres you can go to in Europe. So I feel like Thursday's game is massive. If we can get 3 points going into that Fenerbahce game next month, it'll put us in good stead. That's another topic for another video, but it's a big game. It's a big game on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think December's a big month, isn't it? Regardless, so we'll see where we're at after. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Keep up. Keep up with the likes. Subscribe, follow us on TikTok, whatnot. Some good videos from the Brighton game on there that we got. So thanks for all the love on the channel. But we will be back soon. And up the villa from me.
Up the villa.